Hi, I'm Elizabeth or Chicktar. This is my first time recording a Talk to Me Tuesday video, so hopefully, I'm sure it will be rambly and strange. But hopefully, I get used to it and come back repeatedly. I certainly have enjoyed watching you guys for quite a while. I'm kind of a lurker, only a really rare commenter. Sorry about that. I'll try to do better about that too. But I'm excited to participate in the April celebration. Finally get, just something to get me off my butt and finally do it. So I guess I'll just start with what I'm kind of working on lately. This year, 2019, is supposed to be my year of finishing quilts. I'm a great starter of things and not a great finisher. So I have a few projects that have been outstanding for an embarrassingly long time that I really want to finish. I only started getting serious about quilting about 5 or 6 years ago, but I do have one quilt I started many years before that. It's about 15 years ago now that I started it for a friend's wedding. And that was before it was a hobby that had really taken. I just wanted to make this one quilt for her, and I thought I did a great job, but it was awful. Every single thing was wrong with it. The top was a mess. There were some small gaps and holes when I layered it together and basted it. There were tons of wrinkles and catches on the underside that I didn't even notice, and had already moved on to quilting. I thought I would hand quilt it. I started that, hated it, so it sat and sat and sat. Then I had meanwhile kind of gotten into quilting, and so I thought I would try machine quilting, but I wanted to stick with the pattern I did, so I was tempting to do walking foot quilting, but with a lot of 90-degree turns constantly, and moving a giant quilt around in the machine was too much of a chore, and I hated doing that. So at some point I ripped out all the quilting. That was when I realized also the top itself was a mess. I tried washing it, and it did survive the washing, sort of, but that did bring out some problems and showed where some gaps were. And by then, I was more into quilting and kind of not a perfectionist, but really cared a little more about the quality. So basically, one of the quilts I really want to finish this year is this wedding quilt for a friend that is 15 years old. I basically just redid the entire thing. I made a brand new top. I picked better batting and had just now finished. So it's just a traditional pattern of blocks. It's just red and white. And I just finished doing the quilting. It's just straight line quilting. I don't know if you can see that well or not, but it just has some straight lines, a couple straight lines close together, and then a gap, and a couple close together again, kind of plaid sort of quilting. But it's so far accomplished, it's wonderful. So now I just need to bind and label it and finish it. So that one is going to get done this year. So that was a huge goal for the year of finishing quilts. There were 3 other quilts I really want to finish this year. One is a baby quilt that I did finish in February, and it got shipped and sent to its recipient. That was for a new baby born last year to a cousin of mine, and so he's not even a year old yet, so I consider that a win. And of course I made the quilt bigger than a baby quilt, so he's got plenty of time to still use it. It's really child size, not quite twin or anything, but it's still plenty big to enjoy for a long time, hopefully, if they like it. So that's 2 of the 4 quilts I really want to finish this year. I have another wedding quilt. This one's not as old, but it's the one that really got me into quilting, where it has stuck now as a hobby and sort of a love and passion. For my cousin, my best friend, basically, I started a quilt for her wedding 6 years ago, or almost. It'll be 6 years at the end of this month. I won't get it done in time for that anniversary, but I will get it done this year. I'm sure when I work on that more currently, I'll get to talk about the issues I had with it. There were a lot of things that made me pause. I just cared too much about it and had a lot of issues. Because again, I was new to the process and made some mistakes. And I'm still learning, but it's going to be done. And I'm going to be very proud of it when it is. And the last quilt I really want to finish is a bookshelf quilt. For me, it's not a Harry Potter quilt, but besides Harry Potter, it's really just sort of straightforward books on a shelf, but I am embroidering titles on it, the names of favorite books of mine and my husband. I finished 3 bookshelf quilts 2 years ago for friends of mine. One for my sister, one for my cousin, and one for just a best girlfriend of mine who all love books. We're all in a book club together with some other ladies. And so I picked their favorite books and embroidered them onto those titles onto fabric and turned those into bookshelf quilts. I finished theirs kind of because it more felt like there was a deadline. There wasn't a real deadline. No one knew I was doing it, but there was more motivation or whatever to get them done. So I did get those 3 done. I start at the same time I started one for me, but I never finished mine. So I'm planning to finish that one as my 4th big finish hopefully for this year. Meanwhile, the other big thing that besides this red quilt that I've been working on most recently is the Fandom and Stitches Star Trek quilt along. This is the block I just finished last week, which is the USS Defiant. It's from the Deep Space Nine row. I'm a little slower at this than most people, so I have a whole stack of the ones I've finished here. I haven't turned them into rows yet because I wasn't actually sure if I wanted to put them in the same exact order along the rows as the pattern calls for. So I've just been doing, and I've been doing 2 of each block because I have a lifelong friend of mine who's a huge Star Trek fan, like really obsessed Star Trek fan. So I've been making 1 block for me and 1 block for him the whole time. So I only have 2 rows finished, and I'm halfway through the Deep Space Nine row 3. So I'm only halfway, I guess, sort of along where the quilt along is at, but that's okay. I'm kind of just doing that. It's for fun. It's because they're so cool. The patterns are so amazing. When I saw it, I couldn't ignore it. I just had to participate, so I am. And I really enjoyed the paper piecing. I'm very slow at it, I think, compared to a lot of people. I really sort of like the methodicalness of it, but then I just kind of take my time doing it, and I need to be sure because otherwise I'll make mistakes. So anyway, that's what I'm doing right now. I hope to share more next week. Thanks.